Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you here today with an article from the Jewish Chronicle. It is dated August 20th, and I thought this would be an interesting thing to talk about. It says how Israel recruits Gazans inside the heart of Hamas to risk their lives for the Jewish state. It says Israel has become obsessed with rooting out traitors in their midst, or Hamas, I said Israel. Hamas has become obsessed with rooting out traitors in their midst, but Israel keeps finding new informants. Well, good, because that's what we need. We need the bad guys to go away. Says there is one phenomenon that worries Hamas almost as much as the Israeli military in Gaza: the thousands of informants who risk their lives for Israel. Without their work, none of the operations to kill senior Hamas officials would have worked or the hostages been rescued. So why do they do it, and how are they recruited? An informant's fundamental mission is to locate targets such as senior Hamas leaders, weapons production tunnels, and Hamas operatives who travel throughout the Gaza Strip dressed in civilian clothing. The informant passes this information to his Israeli handler, but never, usually, by phone or any other device, lest he be exposed. It is always done in a meeting at one of the kibbutzim in southern Israel, near the border with Gaza. So this information is then passed to the Shin Bet, who is Israel's intelligence agency. It says who forwards it to the army, which in turn forwards it to the cabinet, where approval to attack is, or is not, granted by the prime minister. Only in exceptional circumstances can a communication device be used if the information is hot, i.e. needs to be acted upon immediately, such as when a senior Hamas figure is visiting a specific place but only for an hour or two, or when it is information regarding a location where hostages are being held and the informant understands that the hostages will be relocated the same day. If a phone is used, it will be the number of an Israeli Arab citizen. The person receiving the call might pretend, for example, to be the informant's aunt who is interested in the situation in Gaza. This aunt will be an agent working for Israeli intelligence. As one of the informants engaged in Mohammed Deif's successful assassination was a Hamas messenger, a 19-year-old whose role was to pass messages written on notes between Hamas members scattered underground around the Gaza Strip. Fearful of Israeli surveillance, Hamas tries to communicate solely in writing, using code and colored paper. Well, that's actually a good idea. When you're facing a much more technologically advanced foe. So got to give them credit for that, even though they are terrorists. And this guy, just so you know, is Mohammed Deif. He was very high up in Hamas, and Israel got him. So since this courageous young man is no longer in Gaza, the bargain with him was that if the assassination operation was successful, he would be flown at Israel's cost to the United States and given asylum. So wait, we're taking him in? I did not know that. Okay. This following the success in eliminating Deif, Hamas is now deeply concerned about the phenomenon of Gazan collaborators and has used the Al Jazeera news channel to threaten all Gazan inhabitants. So people out there, like the Queers for Palestine, this is what you're supporting. And I thought that would get rid of the little thing above the picture, because I think that's Mohammed Deif. That's what I wanted to see, instead of it resetting the entire thing. But yeah, this is who you're supporting, okay? Is that these are bad people. Just wanted you to know that. Says recruiting an informant is a long and complex process. When the recruiter locates a potential informant, he first searches for his immediate weak point and what he needs. Is it money, an entry permit to Israel, or an urgent treatment for his child in an Israeli hospital? For the recruiter, someone who needs and depends on immediate help from Israel is the best candidate. Another weak point can be social or psychological. The recruiter seeks out young Palestinians who suffer from feelings of inferiority or rejection by society and offers them a daring role that needs courage and brings appreciation, money, and the feeling of being someone important. In my time as a commando in the 1980s, not me, of course, but the author, otherwise I would have been a child, it wouldn't have looked too good. I took part in hundreds of operations to locate and eliminate terrorists in Gaza. Recruiting informants was easier then because the leaders of the terrorist organizations did not yet suspect their locals. Due to Israeli censorship restrictions, I can only reveal one or two cases from 1983. The Shin Bet would select a local candidate after numerous tests regarding his profession, character, and his past. One case I was involved in was a cover created for a Gazan building contractor. Israel opened a huge depot for him in Gaza for selling building materials. First, it was in line with his profession. Secondly, it would justify his frequent visits to Israel for the purpose of purchasing building materials. While his truck was being loaded with actual goods, the informant would sit with his operator and submit the information he had obtained. These meetings were held in the homes of citizens who served in the security forces or Shin Bet retirees who would offer their home for an hour or two. So the second incident was the rescue of an informer from Rafah who had been exposed. We had to rescue him from being lynched. He was a very intelligent 22-year-old man who worked in one of the PLO offices and had access to sensitive material. He was relocated to one of the Arab cities in Israel, married an Israeli Arab woman, and started a family. Well, good. Happy ending. As more recently, a Hamas terrorist captured during the Gaza war was recruited by Israeli intelligence and asked to walk through the tunnels in Gaza. He did not arouse suspicion because he was known to the terrorists as one of their own. His Shin Bet controller gave him shoes with electronic chips that scanned the tunnels he was walking in. That is insane. Okay. Says the scan findings were sent directly to the Shin Bet headquarters in Ashkelon, 8 miles from Gaza. Yeah, that is nuts. Okay, like, I mean, when your foe is that technologically advanced, it's gonna be really hard for you to, even if you're doing like, essentially cave paintings to communicate with each other. Like, they're still gonna figure stuff out. Another informant was a Gazan contractor who was involved in digging the tunnels. He supplied the Shin Bet with a map of the location of the tunnels, their internal size, length, and the type of concrete he used. This helped determine which bombs the Air Force should use to destroy the tunnels. And that has 3 ends there, just FYI, if there's anyone that sees this that works here. 3 ends right there with tunnels. So this informant was almost captured by Hamas, but Israel managed to smuggle him into Israel. Hundreds of Gazan citizens have been recruited by the Shin Bet, and now Shin Bet is spelled incorrectly. It's got an I there now. And their information is bearing impressive fruits. And the more Gazans see the success of Israeli operations, the more willing others are to cooperate with the IDF and the Shin Bet. And it's got an I here again. So which is the correct way to spell it, damn it? So as more obviously, the instability and economic situation in Gaza tempts many to cooperate in exchange for significant benefits. Israel pays them a lot of money in cash. It's always a good motivator. There's thousands of collaborators who fled Gaza and the West Bank after being exposed are now settled in Israel enjoying freedom. All the local informants involved in the rescue of the 4 Israeli hostages, 12 Gazans, including 2 families, were relocated to Israel. Today they enjoy Israeli citizenship and a monthly subsistence allowance until they integrate into the Israeli labor market. One of the family members, a 12-year-old boy, is currently receiving medical treatment in Israel for his cancer, paid by the state. That sucks. Cancer and kids. F cancer. There's another motive is that the Gazans understand that the war will end with the defeat of Hamas, and that it is worthwhile to help Israel end the war faster and thus reduce their suffering. Anger directed at Hamas for the spread of crimes such as robbery, theft, and looting, and the feeling that the Hamas leadership has abandoned them. It is Hamas that is killing us, not the Israeli army. My friend Saeed, a dentist from Gaza, shouted to me when I spoke to him this week. Hamas is concerned about the improvement of Israelis' intelligence capabilities and the amount of quality intelligence it gathers, both as a result of the seizure of intelligence material in the tunnels and Hamas headquarters, and from the interrogation of Hamas terrorists captured by the IDF. This is in addition to the golden intelligence delivered by collaborators working with the Shin Bet. And again, it's spelled with an I. So we're like, I think at 50-50 with or without the I. Says Hamas has been taking extreme precautionary measures, including arrests and investigations into Gazan citizens. Sinwar imposed a ban on senior commanders using mobile phones and even meeting family members. As the IDF says that 942 collaborators from Gaza and the West Bank were shot during the 1987 Intifada, murdered by Palestinians in the town square, in broad daylight and in front of hundreds of locals as a warning. But their willingness to continue this dangerous activity has not stopped at all. It has increased over the years and reached its peak when Hamas took control of Gaza and began attacking Israel on an almost daily basis, both by firing rockets and by launching suicide bombers into Israeli population centers. Now it is proving equally vital. So that was pretty interesting, and the author is a former commando soldier of the elite Golani Brigade of the Israeli Defense Forces, where he served for 28 years. Wow, okay. I wish I could talk to these people more about the actual things. I can't because of, it's classified, it seems, but it'd be cool to talk to somebody about that sort of stuff. Yeah, so there you go. That's just a little bit of a story. I know I didn't have much to add to it because obviously I have no experience here, but I just thought that would be interesting to add this to the pile of other videos I've made about this war going on over there. So let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.